The Nintendo Switch version of Full Quiet featured in today's review was provided by 8-Bit Legit. As fun as playing games on the NES is, you truly appreciate what the system was capable of once you see a game that genuinely defies all expectations. Classic examples include the likes of Metal Storm or Castlevania 3. Modern indie releases for the system have seen things pushed even further, with games like Alwa's Awakening and Battle Kid Fortress of Peril delivering stunning experiences. But now I have experienced the most ambitious NES game of all time in Full Quiet from Retrotainment Games. With the releases of Haunted 85 and Haunted 86, they're no strangers to designing NES titles, and Retrotainment's latest offering is nothing short of incredible, and a game that needs to be played by any fans of the classic system. Thankfully, you don't need to rush out and find an NES or physical copy of the game to experience it though, as the full game has been brought to PC, Xbox, and Switch thanks to publisher 8-Bit Legit. Something is happening in the forest. Strange creatures are on the loose and the radios have gone silent. Pap and his team are missing, including your son. It is up to you to brave the forest, restore the radio network, and find your son, led on by the clues left behind. Survival isn't guaranteed, so prepare accordingly. Full Quiet is without a doubt the most ambitious NES game released to date, combining elements from a number of different genres including survival horror, platforming, shooters, and Metroidvanias, provides a unique playing experience. It becomes all the more impressive when you realize it was all designed around NES hardware. Even with those hardware limitations, Full Quiet feels right at home on modern platforms thanks to its superb controls and tight gameplay. The control scheme on Switch, Xbox, and PC makes full use of a modern controller to implement things like reloading, dodging, and crouching to great effect. It is fun to see that the original 2-button NES controls to activate such functions are also still in place. The opening cutscene does a lot to set up the overall vibe. You are alone in this giant forest, surrounded by creatures that want to destroy you. Navigating the forest is a highlight of the game's design. Numerous paths exist to make your way to your intended destination. Some paths are blocked by obstacles you need equipment to pass, while others require seeking out a switch. Sometimes the solution can only be found through the scope of a rifle. And other times you may not even realize a path exists until you stumble into it by accident. Numerous puzzles await to be solved, and they can be deadly if you fail to do so in the required time frame. But through all of this, the goal remains to reach each radio and restore the network, spurred on by Pap's notes. The game's reliance on Morse code further enhances its mystery, but be careful you don't accidentally activate hard mode when you find certain panels. Full Quiet is a relatively difficult game, but thankfully a fair one. Hitboxes during my playtime have been consistent, and not once have I felt cheated by a hit or death. While knockback mechanics have never been my favorite, their use in Full Quiet hasn't felt egregious like some older Castlevania titles. The enemy variety is nice and diversified for an NES game, and the boss fights have been a ton of fun to figure out. The game employs an 8-way shooting system, so no matter where the enemies are, you can fire at them with relative ease. Numerous weapons can be found in the game to help overcome the creatures of the forest, but ammo is limited on all but the trusty pistol you start your journey with. While this may diminish some of the survival horror aspects, I am glad you always have a fallback weapon to use in a pinch. The day-night cycle further shows the overall ambition of the game, and it becomes a core mechanic in the survival aspect because nothing good happens after dark. As such, numerous safe houses exist throughout the forest for you to find and take shelter in until daytime has come, as long as you can solve the puzzle to enter them. A bed is available to pass the time until morning and heal from the day's journey. Despite this safe zone offering healing abilities, it can't be spammed, which I am happy about as it keeps the adventure more perilous. The bed also acts as a save point for you to create a resume point for when you inevitably succumb to the forest creature's onslaught. Crafting is also available to create needed items, such as that clutch medkit you'll use right at the tail end of a boss fight. As for items, there is a good variety to find and use to complete your journey. From simple fuses to a rope, nothing is a waste in Full Quiet. And I just gotta say, I love the inventory system used in this game. It is easily laid out for you to see what you currently have, it is all very legible, and the 2 world map views are extremely helpful. I am a bit sad to see the Game Boy aesthetic pictured in the original Kickstarter didn't make this release, but that is probably for the best. As a fun extra, the game includes the full manual found in the physical NES release, and it is a cool one with its hand-drawn aesthetic. Stunning. That is all that can really be said of the graphics on display with Full Quiet. Sure, it isn't a current-gen visual powerhouse, but I will forever point to it as the staple of what the NES can accomplish. Sprites of both the player and enemies look great in motion with distinct frames of animation. The muzzle flashes lighting the character while firing is another wonderful touch. The environment houses loads of detail and numerous points of animation like wind through the grass. The great use of background layers further highlights just how big the world we find ourselves in is. What continues to blow me away though is how smooth everything is in motion. Scrolling in every direction and along background layers works beautifully, and, at least for the Switch version, sprite flickering is non-existent. While the color palette may be a bit limited since this is an NES game, it has never been detrimental to the overall experience. The fact that we get 3 distinct visual styles for practically every screen to correspond with the day-night cycle is also nothing short of incredible. The aura of mystery that permeates Full Quiet is further enhanced by the game's soundtrack. Each tune sounds great and has only amplified the experience. Thankfully, the rest of the soundscape keeps up, and the accent of shots ringing through the forest ties together in a fantastic 8-bit package. For what Full Quiet is, a tough NES gameplay experience, there really isn't much to criticize. Figuring everything out with minimal guidance is part of the process, and the notes found throughout the world do a fairly good job of explaining most things. Combined with the knowledge the manual provides and the in-game maps, it isn't hard to set out into the world of Full Quiet, though it may be hard to survive it. Full Quiet is an incredible 8-bit adventure whose scope and ambition defy the hardware it was designed around. Its well-crafted world and gameplay fit perfectly on modern systems for even more to enjoy. The journey isn't an easy one, and figuring out what to do next is not always obvious, but there is a great sense of accomplishment when finally discovered. Combat is a joy, and despite limited ammo on more powerful weapons, you can never be fully taken out of a fight. For fans of the NES, 8-bit games, and survival or shooter genres, Full Quiet needs to be on your list of games to check out. And this is Full Quiet from Retrotainment Games. Big shout out to 8-Bit Legit for letting me check this one out early. Pre-orders for this one are now live with a release scheduled for July 7th. And honestly, again, any fans of NES games, 8-bit games, shooters, survival games, you should really be checking this one out. I can't state enough how impressive this game is. And this review was trying to be as spoiler-free as possible, so all gameplay shown is within the first half hour of starting it, so you're gonna see some crazy stuff as you dive in further. But big thank you to each and every one of you for watching today's review. I hope you have found it informative and that you check out Full Quiet. But here at the end of the video, I do have a couple of big favors to ask. If you haven't done so already, please be sure to hit that thumbs up, thumbs down button, depending on how much you like today's review, as well as that sub button and notification bell so you can see when new content goes live on the channel. Loads of things always coming your way, and I'd love to have each and every one of you along for the ride. Now, for anyone interested in further helping support the channel and keep it going, you can check out that join button here on YouTube or the Patreon link in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. A little goes a long way to keeping this place up and running and bringing all of this content directly to you. Big shout out to all of our current backers. Thank you so much for believing in what we do and helping us keep it going. Seriously couldn't do it without you, and we appreciate each and every one of you so much. But until next time, my wonderful internet peeps, you all stay awesome, keep on gaming, and we'll see you back next video.